take a seat, I'll have you raise your right hand. Will you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat. And you can move the microphone close to your mouth so the jury can hear you. And if you could start by telling us your full name and spelling your last, please.
Okay, my name is Kim Jean Thompson, Thompson.
Thank you, Ms. Zeiderman.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, did you know Todd Stermer?
Yes,
How did you know him?
as a friend and a neighbor. He was also my daughter's softball coach.
How close was your home to his home?
Oh, approximately 2 miles, 2.5 miles.
And did you know Linda Stermer?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
Through our children, we also shared a love of chocolate labs and horses.
And when did you know the Stermers in 2007?
Yes,
And did you become aware of a fire that happened at their home?
yes.
How did you become aware of that?
My cousin heard it on the scanner, and she knew that we were friends with Todd and Linda, and she got a hold of us and said that there was a fire, and so we immediately ran over to provide comfort to both of them, thinking that it was their fire of their home.
So when you got there, do you recall if there was anyone else there at the time?
There was the fire chief, Stephen Leach. I believe the assistant chief at the time was Doug Harrington, and he was there. And one of the fire department vehicles was there. And the only other ones that we saw were Mathany's, Mike. But I was focused on Linda.
So were you able to drive down the driveway, or how did you get to the house?
We didn't want to impede any of the rescue vehicles, so we parked our truck along the road on the opposite, or near the driveway, but not in the driveway. We didn't want to impede rescue vehicles.
Because at the time, were there any fire trucks there?
There was just one at that point in time, and after we got there, then they came rolling in.
And were you able to then make contact with anybody to approach the house?
The only ones we saw at that point in time were Doug Harrington, and then I saw Linda, and I just immediately went to her.
So you just ran down the driveway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so where did you first see Linda at?
On the hill to the north side of the house, near where Todd was laying, and at that point they were still trying to administer first aid, and so I just ran to her and wrapped her in my arms.
And were you able to speak to her at that time?
Very little. We were all so emotional at that point. I was just trying to provide comfort at that point.
And who was with you? Who came with you to the house?
My husband was with me, and then also my cousin Annette, who was there as well.
And then what did your husband do?
I believe he went to where Todd was, and he came back immediately, and he said, "Do not go near there." The dogs were, like I said, we had a love of dogs, and one of their dogs was actually one of my dogs that I raised and trained to breed, and so the dogs were trying to jump. One of the dogs was trying to jump back into the house, and so my husband was trying to corral the dogs. Coco came right to me because, like I said, she used to be mine, so she ran right to me, and so we were able to keep her safe. But then my husband was trying to get the other one.
So there were two dogs?
Yes.
Do you recall what Linda was wearing at that time?
No, I don't remember the specific clothes. I know that it was for a January day. It was actually very pleasant. It started out that way. And then it kind of started to get a little less pleasant. And one of the firefighters, and I don't remember if it was Chief Leach or who it was, brought a blanket. And so she had the blanket wrapped around her.
Did you notice if she had anything on her feet?
I did notice that she did not have anything on her feet. She was in her stocking feet.
And did you do anything to help with providing anything for her feet?
Yes, because especially when it started to get sleety and rainy, I was worried that her feet would get cold, and so I asked her what size shoes she wore, and she told me, and I knew that one of my aunts wore a 9 narrow, and so I let my cousin Annette know, who then contacted her mother and gathered up clothes and things for her and shoes so that she would have something on her feet.
And did they ultimately bring those clothes and shoes to the scene?
Yes.
And were you there then when Linda was able to change into those clothes and
Yes.
shoes? Where were you when she was changing into those clothes?
I was, I believe she put the shoes on right away, but then when she changed clothes, one of the, I don't remember if it was a rescue or if it was a police officer, but they had her go into like a van, and she changed clothes in that.
And did you see what they did with the clothes?
I just saw them put them in a bag.
How long did you stay on scene?
Quite a while. Like I said, I mean, she had no one else there with her from the family, and I knew that she needed somebody. I couldn't imagine going through that alone.
Did you stay into the evening hours?
I believe I stayed until she did have someone come, one of her family members, I believe. I don't know for sure who it was, but then they did take her, and then we left the scene.
Did she talk to you at all about what had happened that day while you were on scene?
No, she was very emotional, and then I think about the only thing she did ask was when things were, I guess, wrapping up, when she was getting ready to go, her concern was, would you take the dogs? Would you take care of the dogs for me? And we said, of course.
So you ended up.
So we took the dogs with us, and we took care of them until they went back to family.
So did you have an opportunity to talk with Linda after the fire?
Yes. She came to the house a few times, and we sat at our kitchen table, and we were just trying to all make sense of what had happened. And so yes, she did come a few times, to check on the dogs, and then also, we were friends, and so came and we had been there, and so yeah, we did share a few times.
Did you ever ask her about what had happened?
Yes.
And do you remember what she told you when you first asked her?
I don't remember the order of what we were told, but it did change each time. And one time it was, she had given him, he had a cold, and she had given him some Benadryl, and she thought that maybe he was drowsy or sleeping from that, and that when whatever happened, he couldn't get out.
Did she say where he was?
In his chair in the living room.
Did she say where she was?
She said she was in the basement.
Did she say what she was doing?
I believe she said she was doing laundry.
And then did she tell you how she, or why, or if she went upstairs?
She said she heard something and she ran up the stairs and saw that there was a fire and she couldn't get up. And so then she went out the walkout basement door and ran around to the van to try to get help.
Did she say she ever saw Todd before she ran out the basement door?
At that point, no. Later, she did say that she did see him, and that he ran out as she was trying to drive the van to go get help, and that was all. Just that she saw him when she was in the van trying to get help.
So that was at a later date?
Correct.
That she said she saw him outside?
Correct.
And you said that as you talked to her then, the story changed a little bit?
Yes.
Do you recall then the next version or what the next thing she told you?
One of the other things she had said was that he was smoking pot, and she thinks that he caught himself on fire.
Did you ever know Todd to smoke pot?
I didn't know.
Did she ever talk to you about anything about heating with kerosene?
Yes, we knew that they heated with kerosene as they were building the home. They had a kerosene portable heater in the living room, and that they would fill the kerosene heater there.
Did she say that the kerosene heater was being used that day?
I don't recall.
At one point when you were helping with the dogs, did you see the van?
Yes.
And tell me about when you saw the van.
We were trying, Coco was under control, the chocolate lab, and we were trying to get control of the other dog, and he kept trying to get back in the house, and so we were really worried that he would do that, get hurt or injured or killed. So my husband and I kind of tried to corral him, and he ran around to the walkout level, and when we ran down there after the dog, I saw the van door open. The van was running, and I observed what looked like blood on the front fender, and I believe bumper, but definitely on the fender. And I remember my husband and I looked at each other, and we both said the same thing: something's not right.
Could you tell if the van was running at that time?
Yes, it was running.
Did you ever ask her about the van?
No.
Did you ever tell her what you saw?
No.
Did she ever tell you anything about the van?
No. Other than at the beginning, she said she was in the van to get help.
When you were there on scene, did you see any smoke or flames?
Yes. When we got there, there was smoke coming out of the lower windows, and it was shocking to me how quickly even with fire department there, how quickly the home was within. It seemed like within a minute and a half, there were flames coming out of the roof. It was so fast. It was shocking.
So when you got there, it was just more smoke?
Correct. We could see a little bit of flame in the front lower level windows, but we didn't see any smoke or flames coming out of the upper story until, like I said, it was a very, very short period of time, and then there's smoke and flames everywhere.
So I want to just be clear, there's the walkout level.
Correct.
There's the main level,
Right.
and then there's a second story, correct?
Correct.
So when you say when you first got there and you saw the smoke, you're talking about the main level?
The main level, as we were coming up the driveway, it's an inclined driveway, and as we got closer up on top of the hill, we observed the smoke coming out of those windows. the main level front windows, roadside windows.
Did you ever talk to Linda about where the boys were?
Yes, that was our first concern. Where are the children? And we asked that, immediately when we first saw her. Where are the children? And she said the children were safe. They were gone. I think she said they were in Kalamazoo. But she did say that the children were safe because we were very, very concerned that they might still be in the home.
Did she say why they went to Kalamazoo?
No.
When you saw the van, how close was it to the back of the house?
I would say within 5-6 feet of the little walkout door.
Were you ever interviewed that day by police officers on scene?
No, we got there before the police officers were there, and then what we later found as we left, that there were police stationed at the base of the driveway taking the names of everybody, but we didn't realize that was going on, I didn't realize that was going on. So we never, as far as I know, we were never on that list because we were there before that took place.
And then when you left, you just left.
Right.
Is it safe to say that that was a pretty chaotic scene that day?
Very, very, very traumatic and emotional, yes.
And do you see Linda Stermer in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Yep. Could you point to her and describe her by something she's wearing?
Ms. Stermer is the person that she knows that was there on January 7th.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kelly?
Good morning, Ms. Thompson. How long had you known the Stermers?
Oh, since before they built their home, the children were young and in Little League together, and Todd was a coach. And I think Linda and I bonded initially with her 2 chocolate labs. I was a chocolate lab lover as well. So we just kind of bonded, I think, over our children and our dogs, and we both are horse lovers and both had horses, and so we bonded over those things. And they were a neighbor, and in our area, neighbors look out for each other.
Okay. And so, in reference to the home that was destroyed by the fire, was there another home that they lived in the area that you knew at that time as far as the relationship?
I knew they lived in the area because our children went to school together at that point in time before they were in Little League together, and Todd was our daughter's coach. I don't recall where exactly they lived prior to that home. I know where Linda lived after the fire, but I don't recall where they lived before that. I know at one point they lived in Lawrence, kind of across the road from Sills Farm Market, but I don't know if that predated the home or while they were building the home or if it was after.
So they lived in Lawrence?
Yes.
Before they built the house that was destroyed in Lawrence, is that right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. But you never went to that home?
Not that I recall.
Okay. And so the relationship that initiated with you and Ms. Stermer was a result of the children and the love for your horses and your dogs, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did y'all participate in any type of competition with the horses or the dogs?
No. She did assist us, me, in when I was establishing my breeding operation for the chocolate labs. She did help facilitate finding the stud dog that I used, and so, like I say, it was a mutual love. They bought one of our puppies, and then later Coco, which was the second dog that they got from me. It was, I guess, like all I could say is that we had a mutual love of dogs and horses and kids.
So that the horses that y'all used, I'm gonna say that y'all raised horses for sale, or were they for competition?
My horses were just for pleasure riding. At that point, Linda had rescued some horses too from out of state, I believe, and so they were caretakers for those horses, those rescue horses.
Okay. So over the years, how many years would you say that you had known the Stermers?
Oh, that's difficult. I would say 3 years possibly before the fire.
Okay. And so this unfortunate incident occurred in 2007. Were you contacted by any law enforcement agency after the fire to give any type of report or interview?
No,
So in 2007, did you make any attempt to contact anyone in reference to any information you had about what you saw that day?
no,
Have you ever been contacted by the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office?
just recently.
And when you say recently, how recent is that?
Possibly, I don't know the exact date. It was before we left for Florida for the winter.
In 2024, 2025?
24,
2024.
correct.
So from 2007 to 2024, you had never been contacted by anyone from the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office or the State Police Department for the state of Michigan or the State Fire Department or any law enforcement officer. Is
No.
that correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Were you a little surprised when you were contacted in 2024 for an incident that happened in 2007?
No,
You wasn't surprised?
no.
Ms. Thompson, had you ever seen a house fire before?
No,
You mentioned the fact that you were aware that kerosene was on the property as part of the household use of heat. Is that correct?
yes,
Did you ever visit the home to see the location of their heating system or how it was installed?
the only time I saw the kerosene heater was during construction when they were in the process of building the home, and it was in the lower level as you walked in. It was like kind of like right there in the open area when it was under construction.
Were you aware of how much kerosene was used on the, as far as the heating system in the house?
No,
Okay. Do you ever see any gasoline on the property?
It was a farm. We all have gasoline on our farms.
Okay. You ever see any of the machinery that they had on the property?
Tractors,
How many?
lawnmowers.
Okay. Now, you don't know what caused the fire.
No,
Okay. And when you arrived at the scene, your cousin is Annette Grandel? Is
Correct.
That right? Is that right?
correct.
Okay. And the reason why you came to the location, was it because you got a telephone call from Miss Grant, your cousin?
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you and her meet there together?
Yes.
You did? Okay. And where was Linda when you arrived at the house?
She was on the hill to the north of the house, a short distance away from where they were working on Todd.
Okay. And when you say the hill, are you referring to the elevation of the house, and there's an upper and a lower?
There's an incline, what I would call a small hill, going from the road level up to where the home was built, and it was built on a hill. It was a walkout, so it was at where the home was, and to the north or to the right of that. And Linda was a little, probably a short distance away from that while they were administering aid to Todd.
Okay. And you stated that there was Mr. Steve Leach was there, right?
Correct. He was the one, I believe, that was working on Todd.
Okay. And do you recall anyone else being present?
Doug Harrington, who I believe was the assistant chief at the time, and I believe Mike Matheny was standing off to the south side, but I didn't talk with Mr. Matheny.
And who was Mr. Harrington?
Doug Harrington was our township supervisor at the time, and also I think at that point in time he was also the assistant fire chief.
Did you observe Mr. Matheny providing any assistance and aid?
I didn't notice. Like I said, I was focused on Linda and went immediately to her.
Okay, and where was she? Was she inside one of the vehicles, or was she standing outside?
She was standing outside at that point in time.
Okay. Did you observe her at some point being placed in a vehicle?
Yes. My cousin Annette's mother, my Aunt Gail Crandall, arrived on scene with the clothes and the shoes, and then she sat inside. I believe it was Chief Leach's personal vehicle, a red truck. My aunt and Linda went into the truck together.
Was there an ambulance there at the time that you were present?
Eventually, but not when I first arrived.
Okay. Well, did you see Ms. Stermer? Did she leave while you was present?
Yes.
Okay. How did she leave?
I believe it was a family member that came and got her. I don't recall exactly who it was.
Okay. Did you observe any law enforcement officers talking to Ms. Stermer?
Yes.
Do you know who it was?
No.
Was it a male or a female? Do you recall?
Both.
Okay. How far was your house from the Stermer's house?
About 2.5 miles.
Okay. Could you see the smoke from your house?
No, our home is in the middle of the woods.
Okay. But as you approached the premises, you made a statement that you could see a lot of smoke?
Yes.
Okay. From the upper part of the house, right?
No, initially when I arrived, the smoke was coming out of the lower windows on the roadside on the main level. And we were there just a very short time and smoke started coming out of the upper story windows and then out of the roof.
So when you first arrived, you saw smoke coming from the lower part of the house?
The windows on the main level on the roadside.
On the roadside, is that what you're saying?
Correct. So not the walkout side, but the main level side.
Okay.
What I guess you would call the first story, not the basement.
Okay. Do you recall what the weather conditions was as far as the terrain there that day?
It started out as a sunny winter day. It was unseasonably warm initially. Then the weather did deteriorate and it started spitting like a rain-sleet mix. And that's when I noticed that she was in her socks. And I was concerned about that.
Okay. She was outside in her socks without a coat on, is that correct?
Correct.
Have you been shown any photos of the property or of the house?
No, I was not shown any photos.
Okay. And you retrieved the 2 dogs that was at the property, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Were there horses still on the premises at that time?
Yes, in the pasture.
Okay. Did you help care for those and rescue the horses?
Pardon?
Did you have anything to do with the relocation of the horses, or did they remain there?
I did not.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Sargent? I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Jury, any questions of her? I've got some hands going up. If you haven't already done so, we'll have you write them down and we'll retrieve them. Okay, I'm asking some of the questions asked by the jury. I'm not asking others, determining under the law not to ask them. What time did you arrive on the Stermer scene?
I believe it was the early or mid-afternoon.
You observed blood on the fender, you testified. Where on the fender?
On the front bumper on the driver's side and on the fender of the front driver's side.
Okay. Okay, thank you, counsel. Any questions in light of those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions in light of that question and answer?
Just
Okay.
Ms. Thompson, when you say you saw blood on the fender, on the driver's side?
On the front of the vehicle. And I believe it was on the front quarter, I don't know the terminology, but like the front on the driver's side and on the side driver's side is where I observed blood. There might have been blood elsewhere, but I don't know. That was the only location that I saw, and then I backed right off when I saw that.
But you've never been shown any pictures for
No,
you to point out
no.
if that was correct as to what you saw, right?
That was just what I observed, and I saw that location, and my husband and I looked at each other, and we both said something's not right, and I backed right off. I did not want to be there, so we got the dog and we got out.
I have no further questions, Sean.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Jury, any other questions of her? Nope. Is she excused from her subpoena, counsel?
I would ask that she please be excused.
Mr. Kelly, agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're all done. Thank you, Thank you. Ms. Siderman?
Thank you, Your Honor. People call Ken Thompson to the stand, please.